Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. Before I start, if you can tell me, am I audible and clear?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes,
Thank you so much.
very much.
Thank you so much. So hello all, a very good afternoon. Myself Ekta, and on behalf of the Brinalytics team and our partner VCS, we welcome you all and thank you for being on a roundtable track and trace government compliance and sales performance for agrochemicals industry. So before we start a roundtable, there are a few guidelines that I would like to highlight and make you people aware of. Requesting all the attendees to be on mute when the speakers are taking the session. We'll open up for the Q&A after the roundtable where the attendees can ask any questions to the respective speakers if they have any questions. So the guidelines are you need to raise your hands, unmute yourself on your video, introduce yourself, and put a question to the concerned speaker. So to start with, I would like to introduce our partner, title partner VCS. VCS offers digital intelligence solutions worldwide. It includes real-time monitoring and analytics, IIoT integration, edge analytics, digital logbook, and predictive analytics using AI ML. VCS takes the responsibility to engage with clients in the opportunity assessment, calculating value of improvement, building up business blueprint, delivering required hardware, software, services, and support to ensure that the improvement initiative is successfully implemented. They are here with us to share some great solutions for the industry. A little brief why we have gathered today about the webinar. The agrochemical industry in India has seen a steady growth in the recent years due to the budgetary support provided by the government. The competitive landscape of the agrochemical industry has led to increase in the innovation. Eco-friendly production methods are emerging steadily in the agrochemical markets. The roundtable will focus on the solutions that will help in increasing business efficiencies across the value chain in the industry. And we have some great senior leadership from the agrochemical industry who have joined us today to discuss some great insights on the subject. So before we move for the roundtable, I would like to invite and welcome Mr. Kamaldeep Singh, Executive Director and CEO with Value Chain Solution India Private Limited. He is a strategic leader with more than 25 years of experience in operations and information technology management. He has worked with life sciences, metal and mining, chemicals, cement, paper, ports, oil and gas companies to help them improve productivity, efficiency, and reduced operating cost through digital transformation in various areas. Over to you, Mr. Kamaldeep. Thank you for being here.
Yeah, thank you, Ekta. Thank you so much. Welcome all for this roundtable. Look forward to hear from each one of you. We'll share our experience also when we interact with various industry leaders in India and abroad. VCS has been working in 15 plus countries in agrochemical, and we get a lot of exposure and we do share on this platform and otherwise as well. Track and trace is catching attention from all the industry these days. And whenever we have interacted with leaders like you, we do learn during those interactions what are the real challenges, size of bottles, pouches, whether track and trace really helps. Should it be automatic? Should it be offline? Should we give it to the label manufacturer that he print the QR code and we trace? And is it only for the compliance to the government regulation or there is more to it? So probably when we look at track and trace, we look at from various dimensions. One is government compliance. Another is how can we increase our reach? How can we make sure my product is available at the right place, at the right time? It's a seasonal product, we all know that. So that is also critical. And third point is, can we build loyalty with my channel or my customers, my farmers and end users? So there is a package. I will invite Poojan to talk through that, and he will give some demonstrations also that this is how these solutions are implemented. And probably many of you have already experienced in implementing QR code or track and trace applications and solutions for material tracking, government compliance, or how do we build loyalty in the channel by using this solution. So welcome all, and looking forward to hear from you. Over to Pujan. Pujan, please.
Sure. Thank you so much, Kamal sir, and good afternoon, everyone. It's a pleasure having you all on the call. Just let me share my screen. I hope my screen is available
Yes.
or visible. Yeah.
Yes.
So the solution we are going to talk about today, it's the track and trace solution, how it will help you to meet the government compliances and how it can help you to improvise your sales performance. About ourselves. Okay. So about ourselves, as Ekta already gave an introduction, so I won't take much of the time and will directly move to the subjects that we are here to talk about, that is track and trace, which falls under our business unit of sales channel, or I would say smart channel, which covers track and trace solution starting from primary to shipper level and the pallet level, along with counterfeit protection and how we can improvise our customers' experience. As you can see on here, these are the list of our key customers you can see, and Ekta has already given idea about how we work. So moving on, as Kamal sir already gave the idea that we are in more than 15 countries, we have more than 500 projects, and we have helped save the industry more than $350 million. Okay. As on date, we have more than 1 lakh users using eCubix product. Moving on, the agrochemical industry's challenges. Okay, so as you guys are already into the business, you have faced a lot of challenges starting from how and where to start the packing, how to track entire channel, how to keep a track of your sales, how to maintain the inventory at each location, how to I would say keep tracking of availability of the stock in the market and how to manufacture against it. All right. So these are the some of the challenges which I mentioned over here, which are seasonality and right product at right place. The next would be end-to-end product visibility or movement, near expiry stocks visibility, low farmer channel loyalty, and lack of buying behavior visibility from the field staff. Okay. Our solution that we are offering right now covers everything. Moving on, what is track and trace and how it works? So track and trace is basically a solution which is given with the help of QR code, or I would say 2D QR code. So it starts from the packing, where your final finished good comes into your packing area. It starts from the primary packaging, I would say a small packet, a small bottle, or a small set of bag. The printing of QR code is done over there. Then it moves to the secondary pouch or secondary shipper. Then it comes to the tertiary packing, or I would say the final shipper. And it moves to the final staging area and it is dispatched to the warehouse. The warehouse will receive and it will further move on to distributor and retailer. This is how entire track and trace will be done with the help of one single thing, that is mobile application, which can be used by any smartphone user, if it is Android or iOS. What they need to do is simply open the app with a single click. They can scan the QR code and you will have visibility of complete movement of starting from one bottle or one shipper, starting from the tooler till the retailer, or I would say to the farmer. Okay. Next would be the guidelines. Of course, with the 2D QR code, we follow GS1 guidelines. I won't go much into the detail. These are the criteria that we make sure of when we are printing the label or the QR code. Next is the government compliance, and these are the criteria of it. This product will help you to fall into each and every criteria, or you would be able to complete each and every criteria with this product. Next is the key components, how we distribute our product into 3 portions. First is print and apply. The second bit would be track and trace, I would say inventory till liquidation, and the customer engagement. I'll go into the detail in the next slide. This is the entire flow. As I gave you the idea earlier, starting from here, the primary printing is done. Same printing is done on the secondary pouch or secondary carton. Then it will be done on the tertiary carton, and those every bottle will be mapped to the final shipper. Okay, it will be mapped to each and every level, so that when it reaches to the farmer, or whenever farmer scans the QR code, you will have complete visibility of where the bottle went. All right, so as I give you the idea, here the printing will be done, the product will be dispatched to the warehouse. They can receive the stock with, again, simple handle device or a cell phone. As per the guidelines, cell phones cannot be used, so we have industry grade products available with us, which can help warehouse to scan each and every QR code at their location to keep complete track of it. They can have complete visibility of their inventory. They can see the product's movement. They can see the near expiry stock, as I mentioned earlier. The product will be dispatched to the distributor. Next, it will move to the retailer, as you can see from the path. And of course, as I mentioned earlier, the applications are made for both Android and iOS. Next would be dispatched to the retailer, or for the final liquidation done by the distributor. And then comes the retailer's part. So basically, how do we, let's say, manage customer engagement over here? So this basically can be done with simple help of loyalty program. So any scanning done after the distributor can fall into the criteria of loyalty program, and our system offers various solutions where loyalty programs can be run for each and every end customer. Moving on.
Poojan, just a sec. I think Shraddha has a question.
Oh, okay. Yeah, please.
You're on mute.
Yeah. Thank you, Sharik. So, Poojan, thank you for the overview. One question I have for you is, at the online offline printing at the toller or the plant, do you also have in scope hardware installation and line automation, or is that you partner with some other agencies?
Yes, I'll come to that in our further slide. Okay, we'll give you the detailed idea and how the solutions are implemented over there, and how it looks. I have few images from the live client site, so it will help you to see the setup on how the online offline printing is done. Okay.
Yeah, more of whether it is part of your portfolio.
It is.
It is part of our portfolio.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, Poojan, continue.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Next would be here the question that you had. So the hardware that you are seeing over here, the hardware, of course, is covered within the solution by us. So this image that you are seeing is for the online printing, or say finished or packed pouches printing. As you can see how the conveyors is set up, how the camera and sensor is set up over here. Along with that, the rejection system is there. Okay. This is for the online printing, and this is for the offline printing, where empty pouches are printed, and the final rejection is done with the rejection flap. As you can see the image over here. Below are the scanners that we use for the scanning or validation of the QR code, so that when the product is pushed to the market, it doesn't have any issues. No misprinting or no scannability, it shouldn't be there. So we take care of that part as well. So to cover up the workflow, as you can see over here, this is for the final goods, or I would say the shipper carton level printing. It can go for the drums and the cartons both. Okay. The solution goes like, you print the label with our offline online printing application. You paste the labels on the shipper carton, and then the scan label will move to further destination. Starting from, if we start from toller, then it will move to the warehouse. You can see the images over here, how filling is done, how the packing and the label pasting is done. You can see from here. This is how the baggages are packed, and this is how the pasting is done, or stacking is done in this area. Next would be the channel engagement, or I would say customer engagement, how you can.
Poojan,
Yeah,
let
please.
me just interrupt you for a minute.
Yeah.
See, what he is trying to explain is, one is we can start from shipper level or drum level, or we can start from SKU level for each
Yes.
product, each bottle or each pouch, depending upon what is the priority of the implementation program. Second point is where to print. Can we print it at the toller location, or should I have, if I have 10 toller locations, can I have a centralized hub mechanism where I get all the packing material, print and give it to the nearby locations? Or can I work with my existing printers? So there we have the code and we can give it to them, work with the technical guys, and they give a pre-printed QR code on the label. So whenever it is put on the bottle, our bottle has a unique QR code, and then we can, rest of the things can be tracked at the shop floor. So there are various mechanisms. A lot of tollers are common. They are producing for one company and two companies, three companies. They already have printers, or they already have some equipments. So what we do is we go and do the field study, understand whether we can use the existing infrastructure which he has. If it is there, we will use it. If it is not there, we will recommend that these are the additional things which are required for each toller location. Same thing is for distributor and warehouses. A lot of places, warehouses are in the remote area, they don't have internet connectivity. So we have to plan whether online, offline, those type of things. So this whole program is planned with the consultation with field study, shop floor people, sales and marketing people, supply chain guys sitting together and then work out the plan. Generally what we do, we have found that companies start with one pilot, with one plant or one line, and then they scale it up, or they pick up one SKU that this is my most important one, or where they are facing challenges of counterfeit, or where they want to build a loyalty or a newly introduced product. So we try to match the business requirement and then plan a program to implement. So Poojan is talking about a glimpse of various things. So we can discuss whenever there is any questions regarding implementation.
This is
Yeah, Poojan.
helpful. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Shall I move further?
Yeah, go ahead, Poojan.
Okay, great. So as I was coming back to the customer engagement, how the customer engage or channel engagement can be done with the set of one application, or how we can raise people's interest in using that mobile application and improve or increase their interaction with the organization, right? So like, let's say we divided into 4 parts, as you can see over here. Reward system, of course, that is always a chance to increase your reach when you are giving rewards to the end consumer. Next is increasing your coverage. Next would be increasing your range and the engagement. Yes, these are the main 4 days, or this can help improvise the customer's interaction with the organization. Next is how redemption.
Poojan,
Yeah,
sorry.
please.
Can you go back to the previous slide?
Yeah, please. Yeah.
Yeah. So what we are trying to do here is, one, can we have more retailers? So we did some studies in different countries. For example, in Malaysia, we found out that when we talked to the sales guys, they were saying that we are covering 30% of the retailers or key retailers, or we are already talking to them, we are visiting them. But when we got the actual survey done, we found out there are many other retailers which they were not touching it. So what happens if we enroll more retailers, my reach in the market increases. So that's why we are saying, okay, give some reward if they enlist more retailer, but it should be easy. We are the checking mechanism, the verification methods, the geotags, and all that should help us so that it becomes easy for tracking and enlisting a new retailer. So that's the first portion of increasing reach. Second is increasing the coverage. There may be retailers who are selling only one product. We are saying, can we sell 2? Can we sell 4? Can we push more products? There may be issues of understanding or issues of learning whether we have what is our product range. So all that can happen. In the third one is increasing range, where we are saying that can two products go together? Which two products go together? What is his seasonal crops which he is doing? So if I say one customer is buying A, can I say that if you buy A and B together, or B product generally is sold by this, it's like bread and butter generally bought together. So same principles here. And with stronger relationship is, there are many things which works behind. Application, solution, technology is one part of it. But in the background, there is a lot of change which happen in the organization to use this information. So when we know something is, a retailer got activated, let's say in Nagpur area or Nasik area, then what do I need to do? Is my first contact with salesperson, or should it be through my call center operations, or do I need to invite him to my customer meets or my demo meets, those type, or should I send some success stories, video links? So there is a channel which opens up to link up these retailers, farmers, all that. So all that background is planned, the processes are defined so that various components of the organization, whether it's the sales people, distribution people, or the supply chain guys, they have a role to play in the whole value chain here. Yeah, Pujan, you can continue.
Okay. So the next part would be how the redemption and rewards are given. We have features in our application wherein the customers can have real-time visibility of what they have earned so far in the market by selling the product of the X organization. They can have real-time, or I would say semi-real-time visibility of the application, or in the application of their total earnings. And we can also carry out the redemption program along with the help of application. We can of course integrate with the other solutions or other products as well, but we can redeem the products or the earnings along with these vouchers or gift items, or let's say the online vouchers as well. Next would be leveraging track and trace compatibilities. What else you get to manage the schemes? This is the, I would say, when you are running a loyalty program, this feature will help a lot to reduce your administrative efforts, to reduce the efforts of the field team who is there in the market collecting all the data from everyone, and giving them rewards in against that. So this program or this feature will help you to cover everything in it. Next is business insight. To have clear visibility of the insight in one single page. We have expertise in that, wherein in one single page, you will have complete visibility of the product's movement, the business which is going on in the market, the requirement is there in which is there in the market, what products are selling, what are the combination of products that you are the customers are purchasing. You will get to know the customer behavior with this business insights, and it will help you to plan the business as well. The demand planning, of course, as I mentioned earlier, with keeping a track of sales, or I would say inventory lying in the market versus the production, it is hard job, right? So with the demand planning, you will have clear visibility of what is lying in the market and what is currently available with you, or how much the production needs to be done. Okay. The next would be stock movement. Of course, as it is a track and trace solution, when the label is scanned for the first time, starting from there till the end label is scanned, when end customer is in the uses the application and scans the last label, you will have clear visibility of where, from where to where the product has moved so far. It is a near real time, as of course our application is online and offline, keeping customers reach or customers locations in consideration, wherein in remote areas where internet is not available that easy, we have kept this application online and offline, where anybody can visit or anybody can scan those labels and synchronize on their availability and earn the points. Okay. And this will help you to have entire channel lined up. Okay. Moving on, the expiry stock visibility. it will help you to know in the market how much stock is near to expiry. By maintaining manufacturing expiry date into the application, we get to see when or how much products are there in the market which are getting expired in near expiry date, so that you can predict the return of the product, and it is clearly visible in the reports. Very handy. Next is the customer's behavior. As I mentioned earlier, we can have complete idea of in which region, in which season, which set combination with another products, right? So we can have clear visibility of how the purchase is being done, how much product is pushed into the market, how much products are coming back, and you can. And thank you. Over to you, Ekta. Any questions, if anybody has, please?
Yes, thank you, Poojan. Do we have any questions? We can quickly take one question so that we move on the roundtable discussion.
No, just thank you, Poojan. Very good word.
Yes, please.
Yes.
I have one query. Basically, what you said, if it is the offline situation where the internet connection is not there, so in that case, how the database will move to that retailer or that warehouse where the internet connection is not there? Ultimately, the purpose of track and trace is to track the bottle or
Yes.
container. Okay.
So that's
number one part of my question. Second part is, you said the customer behavior also, which type of product customer is buying, you can track it. Okay, so does it have, will it have the all customer database with customer type of code, or it is up to the retailer or to the stockist who will enter the thing into a system with which customer is buying which product?
Let's see. Answering to your first question, of course, when the remote area is there, the application to interact, to have an interaction between the application and the server, internet is required. That's why the app is named as online offline, not just offline or not just online. So what it happens is, when they are having a product handy to them, they can scan, they can store it into the local database, which is present in the application. Okay. And when they get connectivity, they can simply synchronize.
Okay.
Right. That's when the interaction between server and the application is done, and the data is uploaded to the server, and the results are sent back to the application.
Just to add to that, there is a visibility of when and which person the last sync was performed. So we know which area people are not syncing, where people are scanning, the data is still lying on their mobile phones. So there is always a drive which companies follow, that on every 7th or 15th, they want to make sure, follow up with the sales people, follow up with the retailers and distributors, that they should sync it, because it is a behavior change for them also. So it takes some time to settle the process. But yeah, with rigorous follow-up and with certain motivation given to them, this do happen, that they sync up. And next login, whenever it happens, again, it is pushed that first you sync and then you will allow to do the scan. They can skip it, of course, we don't want to stop the scanning, but there are certain inbuilt features which help them that they should sync, the data need to be transferred to the central server. Yeah, sure.
I think this is a part where we struggle also, because it's like you're always having standard operating procedures that you have to rely on. And at the end of the day, if we forget that offline online syncing, then you result in double scanning in the market. So I would be really curious to know if you have any creative solutions around that.
Yeah, you are right. And there are many challenges which came across, because I can give you an example. For example, in Indonesia, there were some islands where there was no internet connection, Sumatra and all that, where people used to come on barge, and whenever they're coming to buy vegetables, they get Wi-Fi connections and towers, mobile towers, and the syncing was taking place. Same thing happened, for example, in India. People are taking a photocopy or a photograph of the QR code, and many retailers are scanning, so which was also a challenge. So there are many checks and balances which the system need to have to catch all these abnormalities and highlight. It can be corrected as long as we observe that this has happened. If we don't know why it has happened, there's a reconciliation. Every week, every month, there is a reconciliation report which says that this much material dispatched, this much accounted for, this much is lying. Then there's a verification. If there is any mismatch anywhere, then it is corrected at that point of time. Sales people get involved. When we started with another division, for example, it was a personal care division where they set up a centralized, they call it supply chain, smart supply center. So they were getting products from various places. So they had this problem that distributors, they were under their control. They were saying 100% because material is in shortage. So they will do whatever we tell them, but they were not scanning at all. So then we have to change the method because it's all configuration based. We said, whenever we dispatch, we say you have received the material after 1 day. If you are not scanning, it means you have received 100%. So it is for your benefit that you say that I have scanned, there is a one less shipment or one less shipper I have received. Instead of 100, I received 99. Otherwise, we are assuring that you have received all. You don't scan. And then we also incentivize that, okay, now you can reserve a stock. You have an order, urgent order, short delivery. We are giving you visibility of the warehouse stock. You can lock in that I need so many cartons of this product. This will be valid only for 24 hours. Either you place an order during that period or otherwise I will unlock them. So there are many, many features which gets built to ensure that people follow the process. But you're right, there is strong SOPs are definitely required.
Can I ask you a question?
Yes, we can have a Q&A after the roundtable. Is that okay? Or
Right.
yeah. Thank you so much. So thank you, Mr. Kamaldeep and Poojan, for sharing your insights on the subject. Now I would like to open the floor for the open discussion, the roundtable discussion, along with Mr. Shrenik Shah from VCS. The topic we all know is innovation driving change and increasing efficiency. So I would be inviting all the speakers by addressing them and asking them to share their insights on the subject. As all the speakers know that I have shared a mailer which with a few pointers, that would be the highlight of the discussion. I would just like to repeat that points. The first one was, how do you overcome threats to profit and safety due to counterfeit in the industry? How does digital traceability helps in creating efficiency in plugging gaps in the supply chain? How do you create an enforcement management system to ensure government compliance? How important is it to get tools to measure sales performance for analysis and production optimization? So these are the 4 points where the discussion will be moving around. So to start with, I would like to invite Shraddha Gupta, APAC Commercial Digital Transformation with Bayer Corp. So Shraddha, would be great if you can highlight your thoughts on this.
Thank you, Ekta, and thank you, Kamaldeep, and your team for giving the overview. I could sense, I think most of us are facing similar problems. So I come from Bayer Crop Science. I lead the commercial digital transformation for APAC, and I'm also responsible for the global smallholder IT strategy and digital transformation. Now, from my side, and I'm sure this you can relate to, if we go back to the questions on traceability and efficiency by digitally linking our product and ensuring product authentication and not having any product infringement. These are all possible with this whole unique QR code at an SKU level that helps us to understand our farmer better. So if you link what you just said, Poojan, right? You link the warehouse through the retailer to the distributor, retailer, farmer. The whole traceability is absolutely critical. And as Bayer, we have done a decent job to establish that foundation. To us, it's just a foundation. If you look at the world, I mean, obviously for India, agriculture is the backbone of economy. But if you look at the world, we have almost around 500 million smallholder farmers. We don't have markets like America where the farmer owns hectares and hectares of land. In countries like India, Southeast Asia, China, they have like limited land, and that's all they can deal with. The earth is only not going to give them any more land. So what they can best do is get more yield from the farmers. And if I link back to the questions that Ekta is talking about, counterfeit, people say it's a major problem. Of course, we have to find ways to safeguard our revenues from an input seller perspective. But at the end of the day, we also have to see how it benefits our farmers. Because if we are talking about 500 million farmers globally, and in Asia itself, we are talking about 70% of that count, which means maybe we have to target today, maybe what, 35, 40 million farmers are with us across, I'm sure, other companies and input sellers. So farmer reach is very critical for us. So if I look at our farmer journey and customer value, we basically look at farmer acquisition, farmer engagement, and farmer retention. Now, if I link this to the counterfeit challenges that we are going through today, it is agrochemical, when we say agrochemical, everybody knows it's pesticides, insecticides, herbicides. And a farmer relies heavily on the advisory that we as input sellers give them to give the right amount of spray at the right time in the season for the crop so they can get maximum yield. So we can't grow the land horizontally, but we can try to increase the yield vertically for that crop. So if we look at the markets today, and if I take the example of India, there's a lot of companies like generic brands who create fake products and use ingredients. And if you look at agrochemical composition, we're talking about doing heavy research on the active ingredients that go and become a chemical. And chemicals can be very much damaging to not only the farmers, not only the crops, also our environment, and also consumers, because at the end your produce goes to the consumers, and if you have any residues that can catch any contamination, it impacts our health. And if the soil is contaminated, then obviously our yield is impacted. So there are many reasons we need to look at how we can avoid this counterfeit challenges. So coming back to track and trace, what Poojan was talking, one of the things we do is definitely the product authentication, so that we know it's a unique product. And in Bayer, Capsule is very popular, which is hologram based sticker, which helps us to capture these kind of counterfeit measures. However, Capsule works very well in countries like Europe or America because it's an expensive agenda. So when you come to the countries like Asia or China or Africa, you need to look at how do we provide the same level of authentication, the QR code mechanisms, the 2D codes, and if we can do hologram in a very economical, cost-effective way. That way we enable the farmer to scan the QR code and ensure that we capture that data back. And if that's a fake product, we can immediately do an SMS or a WhatsApp or a call to the farmer to alert him. So general awareness like that, we do it. Secondly, we also educate our channel partners like distributors and retailers, because it is in their best interest to ensure their credibility by not selling fake products. And then we also do additional, investigation, and I'm sure everybody does this. We partner with third-party agencies who do investigations and research for us to capture market intelligence wherever there is counterfeit possibilities. So in pockets of Chennai, for example, recently found that a lot of counterfeits are happening. So we don't necessarily, honestly, it is not very proactive. It is a bit reactive. So whatever measures we are taking to, avoid these kind of illegal goods, it's very reactive today. So one of the effort we are doing is trying to see how we can be more proactive and avoid this. So today raids are happening, investigation is happening, QR code authentication is happening, the apps are developed to make sure we proactively tell the farmers not to buy this product, because the farmers' digital literacy is what? Minimal, right? They are digitally not very active. So only way we can support them is for them a bag of seed or a small bottle, they will not be able to distinguish between a fake QR code or a genuine QR code. So obviously they need some education. So a lot of general awareness campaigns, doing this QR code, what Poojan talked about, is absolutely a must have, because it end-to-end ensures your traceability of the product. You absolutely know which product bought that SKU primary code packet, and you can link it back to your shipper, pallet, and your warehouse, and it is a genuine buyer or the input seller product. So these are the avenues we are exploring. I'm sure you have some ideas, and I will be happy to know what other companies are also doing to reduce this counterfeit, because at the end it's not just safeguarding our revenue as input sellers. but also taking care of our farmers, the environment, to ensure prosperity and sustainability, and lastly, the consumer. So the whole food chain has to be considered as we look at counterfeit measures. So I'll just take a pause here, and I'll let somebody else speak as well.
Thank you, Shraddha, for sharing your insights. Shrenik, do you have something to add on this?
I think it was a pretty insightful discussion, Shraddha. I think every organization today is facing this particular aspect on counterfeiting. And I think in India also, we are maturing day by day as far as coming up with the right kind of solutions which fit this particular aspect. And today, as you rightly mentioned also, it's more of a reactive approach rather than a proactive approach. So we do have certain solutions which we have been deploying across to a lot of our Asia Pacific and Indian customers, and a lot of things have got benefited out of it. But obviously it's a journey which every customer in the agrochemical industry has started, and they are seeing some benefit out of it, because at the end of the day it's a revenue loss for the organization or the farmer, because as an organization we might be able to take that loss, but a farmer having a wrong product or the retailer will not be able to bear the loss because they're already at a below poverty level. And actually getting into this particular aspect of it will really hamper their confidence on the organization as well as the retailers or the warehouse. And tracing it back again, sales return process, obviously the administrative cost again of getting all the wrong material back in the organization also is a huge cost to an organization. Correct. So definitely we do have, and we'll definitely reach out to you and connect with you and see to it that how best we can help you on this particular aspect. So thank you for your insights. Ekta,
yes,
you can.
Thank you, Sharda, for sharing your insights. Now, I would request Mr. Deep Upadhyay. He's a Senior Vice President and Head Quality with PI Industry to share his insights on the subject. Thank you for being here, Deep.
Yeah, thank you, Sarada, for this very good database you presented here. And thanks to the entire team here for this opportunity to me to speak here. A lot of things as said by Sarada. So thing is that, but the ultimate goal of track and trace is basically the serialization and then tracking of the container to basically block the counterfeit things in the market. That is the ultimate goal of track and trace, why it came into existence. So here, basically, my thought process is that on digital part, companies are doing good job and the industry is doing good job. People like you are also playing a good role. But the thing is that when this social transformation we do at farmer level, we encourage the farmer or the retailers that he really scan these codes and put the data back into the database. I think the real benefit of track and trace will happen that only. Not only with that, I think the industry, we as an industrial leader or industry also need to educate with this app to some encouragement to the farmer, like how to use the product, how to store the product, whether the track and trace everything is good, but the farmer is not storing the product as per the desired storage conditions, desired required things. So it will spoil the quality also. Even though everything is good, it is not counterfeit. Again, he is suffering the losses because of the improper storage, improper handling, and other things that, like, we are using the pesticides, so these are harmful for the human beings, for the animals. So ultimate, my point is that the ultimately how will we able to motivate the farmer, the retailer, to use this product, use this technology for their own benefits, until we as an industry are able to sell this, because everyone in the market, lot of people are there in the, not everyone, few people are, or a lot of people are there who are really using this opportunity to counterfeit the products. Even you see really recently the COVID cases, so people were there to sell the fake medicines, even fake factories. Okay, so it is a social sin where we see that such thing happens. Okay, so my thought process is that the track and trace should ultimately be used. We should provide some solution to the farmer, even though there is no internet. At the moment, the retailers sell this product to the hand over this product to the farmer. That time, at least retailer, we should be able to educate or provide him support that he should know whether this product is a counterfeit product or it is a genuine product. That is what I feel at this point of time. And I think thanks all. The remaining other part already is told in the discussions and shared the thoughts. Thank you.
Thank you, Deep. Thank you very much for your insight.
Yes. Now I would request Mr. Vikas Jain, the CFO with Adama. Vikas, please share your thoughts on the subject.
Yeah, hi. Good afternoon, everyone. So I was just seeing, in the sense, the share of all these counterfeits is, I think, close to 20-25% of overall of the market. And the highest market share any company has is close to 12%. So you can see that the counterfeit is almost double than the highest market share company. So the threat is real, and it's very difficult, because even though we might say that we can teach the farmer or motivate the farmers to use these different technologies, but it's a long way. Even if suppose I have to develop one app and say farmers app, I can reach say 4 lakh, 5 lakh downloads. Leave aside teaching million of farmers to use this track and trace and all. But why still we need to use this technologies? Because first is, okay, farmers might use, or very less percentage of farmers might use. But the other important point is it will create a fear. It will create a fear in the minds of the people who are actually producing these counterfeits. Because as we develop this track and trace and other technologies, they develop themselves, right? They come with copying QR codes, and they develop their technologies as well, because you see the 20-25% market share finally what they are going to capture. So a lot of things has to be done technologically, in the sense it has to be, you have to come across, we came across a startup wherein the QR code was such a way that no one can copy a QR code. So you have to come to those solutions where QR code itself cannot be copied, or it's like one QR code which can never be replicated. So to that extent, it has to go. And then the second biggest step would be the farmers to actually use and understand that they can check from the companies whether the products are genuine or not genuine. So I think it's a long way to go. But as I said, for me, it's very difficult to expect that farmers will suddenly start using and will start checking from the companies whether it's real or not. But at least it will create a fear in the minds of the people who produces these counterfeits, that the technology, at least we have to use the one step better technology than what they are using. That will only help us to solve this problem. Thanks.
Thanks, Vikas. Just to add what you said, I think it's a change that everyone will have to go through. It's a change moment that we need to all start together. I think the way technology has evolved, if you talk about 2G, 3G, or when you talk about Industry 4 also today, a lot of changes have actually evolved in the last 2 years, and specifically during the COVID times. I think a lot of organizations have come up with a lot of innovative solutions, and there is a change which is actually there is a growth trajectory which has happened in the digital transformation, which all organizations are actually picking it up. When you talk about organizations like Swiggy, Zomato, we never had thought about ordering food and doing all that stuff. So when these drivers have started using this QR code, or when you do your e-commerce ordering and everything, the return mechanism and everything. So it's a chain movement which has started, and I'm sure each and every domain, each and every industry is going through this particular change, and agrochemicals definitely is in the way. I think pharma has started doing it, so agrochemicals is on the next wave where this change is definitely going to come up. Kamal, anything you would like to add?
Yeah, a couple of things. Thanks, Shanik. One is there was a very interesting study. I think it was from Indonesia, where they studied who are the people who are manufacturing this counterfeit. And it came out that these are very, very small organizations in a very shady areas they produce. So when we evolve in packaging, evolve in labeling, then we are way ahead. What Shraddha was saying, what Upadhyaya was saying, that we can build that up. But the challenge comes, how do we tell the farmer that this is what our product is? This is how our bottle looks like, or this is what a hologram is, or this is what the QR code you can scan and do. The conveying that message is very, very important to farmer. Then there has to be a plan behind that, right? A couple of things which comes to my mind, which companies have adopted in different countries. One is that QR code has become more intelligent. It is not only carrying an alphanumeric number, but it also carries a link which goes to some learning videos, how to use this particular, how to identify this product or how to use this product. So you can open up. Then there is an augmented reality videos that how to use it that can be triggered through that. Then there are mechanism of, for example, e-voucher. You incentivize the farmer to buy a similar product again. So once he registered that, okay, if I scan, I get a voucher on my this thing, and it is also linked to payment gateway. They get some discount on the next purchase. So that way you get more authentic, more farmer database. So it's a various things I will say which need to be put in place to touch base with farmer. Farmer is not so educated, but if you compare that with Japan and Taiwan, where farmers are like big growers, they are very tech savvy, and you ask them anything, they use Facebook, and people are using Facebook to convey whether the QR codes are authentic or not. So in Japan, people are doing that. In distribution channel also, we have seen in a couple of markets are different. Here we are saying distributor and warehouse people should scan. There they don't want to scan. They are large organizations, large PSUs, and they are saying that we require a technology which is non-intrusive. Build that up, put a chip in the carton. Cost is not so important, but let me track it through the mobile towers, and I should know where the product is. And the technology is evolving. We have seen the first trial in Japan, and in India also we have come up, we have seen Jio has launched recently some technology where chip can be introduced. Once the carton is open, we know where it has been opened. It can be geocoded. So people are advancing, but again, it comes out to be cost benefit analysis. Which product should I do it for all the products for counterfeit, or do I choose? So a lot of program management planning and thinking has to get into before we solve the problem. So first the problem solution, then comes the technology. How do we do that? Thanks, Shanik.
Yes, thank you, Kamal. Yeah. So now I would like to invite Dr. Arun Duri, Technical Advisor with Agrocell Industries Private Limited, to share his thoughts on the subject.
Thank you for inviting and giving the opportunity to participate with the whole industry colleagues. We have very well shared the issue of counterfeit products as well as the how do we counter it with one of the technologies getting discussed just now about the QR codes and track and trace. Track and trace and QR code is a very good technology. There cannot be two opinions about it. And we as an agrochemical industry, whether we are in pesticide or in fertilizers, adopting it is in the benefit of the company first. Then we come to how it is going to help the farmers and other things. But for company, it is going to be very, very useful, and it is useful. Number two, scanning at farmer level, though today it looks a very, very difficult situation, but that situation will arrive sooner than what we are talking about. To the best of my judgment, it's a matter of another 3 to 5 years, and farmer will be comfortable scanning the QR code on the bottle and get all the information what he is looking for. Just think about the ATM machines and the banking on the mobile. With a short span, everybody has adopted to that. So this technology is beautiful, efficient, usable. There are going to be some issues like internet services in the remote places. Why about internet? Even the telephone itself, mobile itself becomes difficult when you go in some of the paths. But as I said, wait for 3 years, and 3 to 5 years, this is going to be a running activity, running practice. So let us not get disheartened by the difficulties and the possible limitations. We must start adopting it now. As it was explained in the beginning, it may start adopting with a few companies, with few products, but I am very clear that this is going to be a regular practice in all our businesses, and agrochemical is not different. We as agrochemical people should adopt it faster than other businesses, because our business is regulated heavily from various angles, because there are toxicity angles attached to it, there are environmental angles attached to it, there are farmer compensation angles attached to it. So there are many things. There are many things wherein it is in the industry interest of our industry to have it. So I am for it, and we should go for it. Costs and cost benefits. Today, it may not become very attractive from cost to cost benefit, because most of the benefits may not be immediate visible to be harvested. But as I said, in a span of 3 years, you will all feel that yes, those benefits which were not visible or not felt to be usable are now becoming usable over a span of 3 to 5 years. So I am for it. Let's go for it. And QR code, anyway, government wants us to do that. So I would say it is good. It will happen both compliance as well as in our own interest. And if it gets done properly, we may request government to please do away with the paper labels and leaflets, and we will provide all these informations on QR codes and save some more our energy efforts on printing the leaflets. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir, for your insightful views on the industry and how the industry can actually make progress on this particular stuff. And I think if the entire industry thought leaders and stalwarts come together, I'm sure going along with the flow, with the way things are, I'm sure we can see the light of the day at the end of the tunnel.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much, Dr. Duri, for sharing your insights. Now I would like to invite Mr. Raju Kapoor, Director Corporate Affairs with FMC Corporation. Over to you, Mr. Raju, and thank you for being here.
Oh, thank you, Ekta, and thank you so much, all of you, for having me here with you. It's a great pleasure, and you're possibly discussing something which is very close to my heart, because I believe what you're discussing is all about sustainability, not only of the industry, but of the farmers, of the food system per se. So that's very critical. I think I'll just pick up from where Sharda left. I think she's already covered why it's a must, and I think all of us understand, and especially FMC, we are possibly the largest victim of counterfeiting in the country. Somebody was saying 25% is the overall sales, so 12% is the highest market share. I think I would not be surprised if our counterfeit is more than our actual sale, but okay, let's look at that again. So let's look at it from 3 angles. So first angle clearly is technology. The second angle is policy. Third angle really is the sociology part of it, the psychology part of it. So I think from purely from a policy point of view, and practicability is the last one. Is there? Okay. So from a policy point of view, I think we have made the government rather clear, and there's enough understanding within the government, which is actually getting reflected now even on the pesticide management bill, where the government has recognized the necessity of safeguarding the supply chains and the farmers from the illegal products. So to that extent, we have reached there. There is obviously a difference between the state and the central that needs to be compiled, but I think over a period of time that's going to happen. So it's not a big deal. So from a policy point of view, they've also been supporting us in terms of saying, okay, let's get onto QR code. And so I think QR code on the label, of course, as the government understands, it's going around in circles, but I think it'll come and land up one of these days when there's a reconciliation between practicality and the technology. So one part of it. In terms of second is the technology part. I think the real challenge that we currently are facing is the last mile. Capturing data at the last mile is a real big challenge because of n number of reasons, right? First and foremost is the infrastructure availability, the behavior. A very good point was made by Kamaljeet. I think he made that point about incentivizing a farmer to scan it at the last moment. Yeah, I mean, those are all very good suggestions, but we have invested very heavily onto this, but we continue to find that the guys who are spurious are still moving ahead of us. Somebody talked about copying QR code. My product labels sell for almost 10% of my product price. Can you believe that? My empty bottles for a product called Coragen, they are second most demanded product in the Indian industry. Empty bottles. So there's a big syndicate which is working towards it. So how do we kind of curtail them? That's a big issue. Also, when we look at the entire traceability point of view, I think as we go on to multiple sites and, for example, companies like us and Bay and Syngenta, etc., who have multiple locations, and then we have so the kind of investment that we have to go in once, and the technology changing so fast, and also we having to reconcile with the global technology leads, because we also have globally people working on the technology who do not possibly understand what India behaves like or what India looks like, because they are looking primarily from a Western hemisphere point of view. So that reconciliation is very crucial. So I think one of the important reasons for promoting the adoption of this technology, adaptation of this technology to India, would be reconciliation of solutions like what you guys bring in and what people are already working. Sarda already put it there. Why should everybody work on a separate app? So I think we've discussed this in the industry. So, but if we can all work together, there'll be a great scene if we can all work together. The government actually wanted us to work in that fashion, saying, okay, but we told the government to be the operator of the entire program, and they backed out. So they said, no, we don't want to do it. You do it on your own. So once you start doing it, then there is obviously issues of competition laws, and all those laws kick in. So I'm not sure if industry as a whole can do it. That's a big challenge. But I think, like Padya Sahab was saying, I think we are well on course. We are actually progressing very, very well. I see that technology will improve further. It will become more affordable, if I may call that, and more practical for the farmers and the channel partners to adopt. So that's what is going to come. We would be very keen to look at the entire track and trace whole package. So we're working towards it, but I think it's going to take time. It's a big 3-year project. It's taking time, but the last part was the sociological part, where actually, how do you get people motivated to do that? This is being done in the case of fertilizers, if you guys know. No subsidy can come back to a fertilizer manufacturer unless there's a, the product which is sold to the farmer is entered into the system. The system is owned by the government of India, right? So only after you enter the product sales into the system can a company get a subsidy. Because in pesticide area, there's no subsidy. So the incentive, overall incentive is so little that, even if you have a solution, it will be highly fragmented, because to motivate people to punch in the data, and that too in the peak season where the farmers are crowding into you, in a retail shop will be a big challenge. So I think if you can look at easier ways of scanning, maybe that could possibly work better. And the last one is financial, where these solutions have to become rather affordable. They have to become really affordable. So I think the technology players will have to come in here, and we would be more than happy to work with all of you. So thank you so much for giving us the opportunity, and we look forward to work with all of you.
Thank you, Mr. Kapoor.
Thank you.
Kamal, you would like to add to what Mr. Kapoor said, or?
Yeah, no, the points are well taken. I think he has summed up very well on the various dimensions of whether it is policy or technology and sociology or adaptability of that. It has to be looked at or solved together. We can't just solve the technology problem. When we started working on QR code technology around 5-6 years back, we faced all these challenges. First, the technology challenges, adaptation challenges. Then you solve, get into reconciliations, get into certain fine-tune, certain alert mechanism. There was a related app which was there when a salesperson goes to his territory. There is a SMS. It's send an SMS and he get all the data about that territory. How many farmer demos were done, how many QR codes getting scanned, which retailer is active, which is not active. While he's driving, he get all that information. So when you link up these small tools and activities, it helps overall sales growth. It justifies the investment. You get better ROI. It also ensures that people realize what is the benefit of scanning the QR code. And whenever they're visiting a retailer, the first question is how much you're scanning, what you scanned last year. Are you getting some incentive? People are doing like this. They are in the nearby village or nearby retailer has done this. So the conversation changes over a period of time. But yeah, it's a journey. You have rightly said, Mr. Kapoor, that it is a journey. In 2-3 years, things will change. I agree with that.
Also, you know, the reconciliation between the track and trace industry itself would also be useful, because, you know, the solution, because I've been looking at solutions from multiple people, and I would say all of them sat together, they could possibly come back with something very interesting, which we would be very happy to adopt.
Yes, I think Sharda also mentioned something on the same line. Great minds think alike, maybe.
I'm always up for a federated approach.
I think, like you guys said, the challenge is to all of us, right? So, you as technology providers and to us as solution providers, to the farmers. So I think we all got to work together.
Absolutely. It's a paradigm shift.
Yeah.
Somebody has to take the first step.
Yeah. So as a technology provider, as your product provider, I think we all are working towards ensuring that we solve our customer problem, which is the farmer. We are trying to ensure that they are able to make some good amount of money with the kind of technology investments that we are doing along with the customers, so that you can solve their problem. So if you're able to solve our customer problem, I think we are in for a big change.
The interesting part, Shrenik, was about the communicating this to the farmers.
Yeah,
I think Sharda pointed it out. Somebody else also pointed it out. I think there the government also has to join us, right? Because today we have multiple solutions, but we are actually promoting good buying practices, along with good agricultural practices to the farmers. How should you buy a product?
Yeah.
But then you have millions and millions of farmers. You know, how do you reach out to all of them? So that's becoming a challenge by itself.
Okay.
Absolutely. I think the government will have to play a big role out over there. But as an industry, as technology partners, as manufacturers, I think whatever best we can do jointly, I think as an association, we can actually bring it up to them. And at the end of the day, it's in the beneficial of the industry that we are all working towards. So I think it's very, very important for all of us to come together.
One other important point is we are operating at 2G level in the farm today. So I think very soon we will be migrating to 4G, very soon, right? So it may not take more than 2 years. I'm very sure.
Yeah, I hopefully with the with Geo coming in
Yeah.
and with the investments that they have done with Facebook and Google and everything, with the Google phone actually getting launched in the month of September, we are pretty sure. I think there is a tectonic shift in the way technology is moving, and farmers or rest of the people will definitely benefit out of it.
So what will happen is, my understanding is, the whole solution will change, because you'll not only sell your product, you'll be selling the entire thing along with the anti-counterfeit solution.
Yeah.
So the whole thing will get sold to the farmer at one point. If somebody talks about augmented reality videos embedded in QR code. So I mean, those things are not very far off. So I think today what we are discussing, and after 8 months when we will discuss, I think we'll be discussing slightly different things.
Absolutely.
That's the challenge in technology.
Yeah. So thank you, Mr. Kapoor, for all your insights. Ekta.
Yes, thank you so much, Mr. Raju. So now I would like to invite Mr. Nitin Sonar, Executive Vice President, Supply Chain Management with Biostat India Limited, to share his insights on the subject. Thank you for being here.
Thank you, Ekta, for organizing this wonderful, session, and thank you, everyone, all panelists. This is a very important subject because, in our company, we are also working on the same, and we are working to, towards the implementations. So what Mr. Kapoor and all other panelists also already said, that it's going to be a paradigm shift. What I feel that it's going to be a cultural shift in terms of entire supply chain activities. So it's not only farmer, we're talking all about the farmers, but what I see the main issue here from my production side itself. Because once we are looking for a QR code implementation, the printing process, so there itself is a lot of changes happening. So to manage that change, from there to the warehousing change, and then to the dealer and distributors, and then again our salespeople. So it's going to be a very big challenge for everyone, because we have to make sure that people in our organization first use it, then our distributor use it, and then we have to make sure that our farmers use it. Then only we can really go back and keep on the track and trace activities. So it's definitely a 3 years activity. I hope every company must be started from the initial state where we are struggling to get the QR code printed on each and SKU level. So this is what I feel. It's very important to protect the counterfeiting, and definitely there is one important thing I would like to understand from Mr. Kamaldeep is that how we can improve on the sales side, like sales performance side through this activity, wherein every company must be facing the sales forecasting and the actual sales and the liquidations. If we can get some good solution, maybe after 1 year, 2 years, which will definitely improve on our inventory and our entire supply chain solutions. And also one big advantage, what I can see in our industry, we face the issue of batch filling from the CIB labs. Maybe QR code will be very helpful to track and trace back towards how the products are getting filled in the lab. And then we can really work on them to improve on it. And also if the product is spurious or it's a counterfeit product and which has gone to the lab, so through this QR code, we can really fight that this is a product not manufactured by our company and it's a counterfeit product. So these are many benefits will come out slowly once we all work towards to this. And since the cost is very high, I hope the counterfeit production people won't be able to do much on the QR code side. So thank you from my side this one.
Thank you, Mr. Nitin.
Okay.
Nitin, I have a question on your query, rather, I would not say question. You said on the lab label, the track and trace should be able to track it. So, if I'm not wrong, at lab label, this QR code is post packaging, no, or during packaging.
Yes.
So lab label will be the bulk material only. We can have that traceability should be in the ERP system or material management system rather than in the track and trace.
Yes. No, what I'm trying to say that if my batch is failed, So when I have that QR code, I can really go back to my initial batch from for that particular batch, which raw material I have used and from which supplier I use. That also I can track in this QR code.
Yeah. Maybe I can add something to that. Nitin, you have raised two questions. One is on sales performance, and second is on tracking the bulk material, where if there is a batch failure, when we find out from a packed material. There is a similar example which was in pulp and paper industry. We implemented for ITC Limited for their Bhadrachalam plant. When the paper gets defected or there are more number of defects, they wanted to check which pulp the problem was coming from. Pulp, it's very difficult to go back and see if the failure is coming at 10 o'clock in the paper, at 8 o'clock where this material was, because finally it is all a fluid way of fluid mechanism of fluid material, I can say. But there can be a logics which have been put, and one can trace back to that material, build that association between the final product QR code and the batch ID, which is there at various stages of production. Here, we are having toller locations where the bulk materials comes and after that the production happens. But traceability is possible. But QR code only is not the solution. QR code linked with either MES or the current PLC or the label levels in the tankers, etc. Those need to be linked to solve that problem. Second part, second part of the question is on the sales performance. We all agree that when we solve supply chain issues, we also contributing in increasing our sales if we know where the product has to be there. So the idea is to increase visibility across the chain. So like we discussed earlier, the sales guy who is going to the territory, if he knows that which farmers have been active, which are buying, which has been liquidated, then they are pitching those products. And there is a farmer database. They gather farmer database. That is one part of it. Second, incentivize the products which go together, and sometimes reward points also. It is the way Amazon work. And then they are saying, okay, this is at 100 rupees. If you order more than 200 rupees or more than 500 rupees, you are at 400, you will get your delivery charges waived off. So those type of strategies companies do adopt, where we have seen that it gives an incremental push to the people. And then there is a trade push. I mean, we have to see that when the product is required, farmer asks for our product and our product is not available, obviously he will move to another product. Or the retailer will say these two are more or less similar. This is also good. Why don't you try that? So there we require a channel loyalty. The retailer should also talk about the same benefits or value of the product which we want to communicate. And why he will do that? It means he need to have interest in promoting that. So where the education material, QR code, incentivization, all this go hand in hand. So I think there are various aspects where the sales gets triggered. Yeah, no one commits that because we implemented QR, so much percentage of sales will increase. People are hesitant in saying that. But we all know that supply chain does play a significant role in the industry, where we say compete through supply chain. We are competing based on traceability and ensuring that sales progress and the engagement with channel and farmer improves.
Yeah.
I hope I've been able to address.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Kamal. Yeah, Ekta.
Yes. So now I would like to invite Mr. Kishore Biswas, International Business Lead with Sumitomo Chemical India, to share his insights. Thank you for being here.
Thank you, Ekta, for giving me a good platform to discuss. I was listening all the leadership's discussion about this matter. Basically, my perspective is that where the vaccine is getting spurious, so definitely there are a lot of this kind of activities is expected. So we have to be very cautious, and all the industry all together, we should join hand all together. This is not possible if the entire industry and already, all the leadership has already discussed about that. The involvement of the government as well as all the industries should come forward together, join hand together, And this is the right time. The technology is there, and this is just to implement. Maybe in the initial year, 20%, 30% farmer, we can cover it. But later on, as Dr. Dhuri, a lot of people already, expected, even Mr. Raju Kapoor also has clearly communicated that, yes, within 3 to 5 years timeline, probably 80% or 85% farmers will get benefited out of this. So the time will come. Definitely, the technology is there. Technology is giving us a platform, and we have to stand out now. This is the right time. Is not a question for only for the farmer, is also the question for the industry. Clearly, it is indicated that the transformational change, the QR code, traceability and all, in perspective of some shipments which are going out of India, that will also help us very well when suppose our product is moving to some other countries like Africa or any other Asian countries or anywhere, that entire finished product, then we do not have any control over there. So if this will give us a good platform to understand, and this will also give us a good tools to understand where the product is moving. And yes, we have also kind of counterfeit problem in other outside of India as well. Many countries has adopted it, and it is strictly implemented, like China, Taiwan, Japan, South Korea, in many of the Latin American countries. Every country has implemented it. Is strictly, it is mandate now for implementing the QR code. So this is a time for us as well to show the leadership in this, specifically in Southeast Asian countries. So thank you very much. I will not take much time. Thank you everybody for giving me some time to discuss on this matter.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you,
Thank you,
Mr.
Mr. Kichwala, for being here. So now I would like to invite Mr. Ravi Rudrapa, General Manager, Business Development and Analytics with Biostat India Limited. So Mr. Ravi, your thoughts.
Good evening, everyone. Thanks, Ekta and Kamaldeep, for this opportunity. We have been speaking a lot of things, have covered what is the positiveness, disadvantages, and what is the challenge of implementing the QR code. So if you see about government, it's good that government has taken this action, because somewhere there are a lot of innovators they take care about, and somewhere also we need a support from larger institutions like government, because agriculture is so vast, very big. Only 1 or 2 innovators can't change it. But anyway, they can show that some lights. But doing the mass conversion means you need a larger support, like government, because they made a compulsion that QR code has to be there to protect the interest of the farmers. Now coming to the challenges, means when you saw you see the go to into a village, sometimes when you try yourself scanning the QR, because of the low internet, you may not see that QR code get opens. It may take a lot of time also, right? So what could we still, what we can do is, if there's a unique code which is printed along with the QR code below, right, which is covered, right, not openly. So when the customer buys it, he can scratch it and see the number, and he can put it says that UID number to the some number, so 10-digit number, where he can say what is the authenticity of the product. This is not only the new, it's already old, which serial code is there, right? Serial code along with the QR code will have a double authenticity and something else like a hologram putting there, right? Combined with this means giving a double security, like QR code is a hologram with the branding. It gives a good opportunity for branding for the companies. Why it should be only the square small box? You can put a branding also better, and sometimes it becomes easy for the farmers also where the QR code is put. Otherwise, you have to, if the QR code is there in the FMCG packs, we see that very difficult to find where it is. And this will have a very visibility branding part, and obviously there will be an opportunity for farmer, if its internet is not working, you can send SMS and find the authenticity. Now, most of the time here, there is not an habit of a farmer to check before buying whether he is buying the genuine product or not. But obviously, if the product is not performed, right, then his curiosity is very high. I know, if 100 people is buying, it's not all 100 will scan and buy. But if he's facing an issue and the product is not performed as per the promise, or he is already our existing customer, And he sees this difference in the experience. Earlier, when he used the same product brand, and now he's using, obviously they will go back and see the scanning and see the authenticity of the product. So that's we are making some window for the farmers at least come and know what is happening, right? And one more is it's farmer. Yeah, obviously we are seeing, but lot benefit to the implementers, brand companies. Now we are telling about counterfeiting. Someone competitor is fighting to us. Now you see about infiltration of your own brands. Somewhere there's a product sells at different pricing at across the pan India. It's not one price sells at all go like your maybe pharma or even FMCG products. So there's a difference in the pricing, and there's a lot of discounts what the companies gives in this industry, and huge buyers will have always price margin. So those infiltrations can be curtailed, which is like your own system, which is killing or reducing your value, right? Because you spend a lot of money on brand building, and somewhere infiltrations comes and undercut the price. Not only that, your channel will be disinterested in the product. So it's a lot of benefits for the company, not only the farmer. Obviously, farmer is the first foremost important interest, but as a byproduct for the company, there's a lot of benefit. The ROI means company can get very fast. Why? All your visibility of on the supply chain will be very high. Today we have implemented maybe big ERP softwares, but still we do physical auditing, right? Maybe with the QR code implementation, what you see on the virtual inventory and what is physically on the shop floor is will be 100% to match. And like FIFO based, because of that, maybe expiry will be less because first in first out movement will happen. And many other benefits are there in implementing this, and SureShot will get a better ROI for that. And one more very challenge of this industry is how much inventory is lying at the retailers. Very tough to know about. I mean, probably putting this QR code, and not only 1 or 2% when 1 or 2 companies does, it's very challenge, right? But as an industry, every players do that, because we are not educating only our net of customers or channel. Means we are educating all industry people there. So it becomes as a like mandate type of, and obviously the implementation will be much smoother and 100%. And once it's happened, we know what stock is available at the retail level, and we really know what is the demand, because many times we go with what is invoice is a demand. But many times if the season is not happened well, or if there's a liquidation is not happened during that season, means the numbers what we get is very wrong, and our forecast, everything will go wrong, right? So this QR code is simple as the technology is saying, but gives a lot of benefits where we can ourselves sanitize our whole system, improvise our efficiencies, and also protect our customer, right? Thanks from our end, my end. Thank you all.
Thank you, Ravi.
Thank you so much, Mr. Ravi, for being here and sharing your insights. Now I would request Kavita Sirothia to speak about our AGM international business with BR Agrotech Limited, Bharat Group. Kavita, over to you to share your thoughts. And thank you for being here, Kavita.
Thank you, Ekta, for giving me this opportunity to speak in front of our leaders who are already have spoke many things about the track and trace solutions. So as I'm handling the international business in Bharat Group, and I've worked with several companies in the past, and agrochemical has been my major industry where I have the biggest experience. So in international business, actually, we are not directly serving to the clients, directly to the farmers, because we are appointing distributors and the agents and the importers, and then we do registrations in the regulated markets and as per the registrations guidelines of the Ministry of Agriculture of every country. But what happens when we do the registrations and we do a lot of GLP data generation and a lot of investment we do in crores, in millions. And what happens after 3 to 4 years, we see that we did so much efforts and our product is registered. Now it comes a challenge for us to launch our products, and we deal with, sometimes we deal on exclusivity basis, sometimes non-exclusive basis. So what happens then? The distributors, what they say sometimes that your product is not sellable, maybe the price is high, or maybe there is a complaint at the port, or they are not able to clear the goods on time. and we are unable to sometimes track the movement of our goods. And it has happened to me several times where because of the pandemic, I cannot go and see the status of our products, what is happening, what is the feedback we are getting from actual users and the farmers. That had happened actually to me 2 years back, when a customer told me that the goods are lying at the port, and he is unable to clear the goods because of the complaints. And for me, it was a little surprise, because there was not so much complaint, there was no so, and now he sold all the material, but still the issue is that there is a complaint and they wanted some discounts. So if we are unable to track the movement of the goods, it is very difficult in international business to rely what my client is saying, because I don't have any idea whether the goods are lying at the port until unless because they clear the goods from the customs, but sometimes it is at the customs bonded warehouse. And many times it has happened that that our product is registered, but the customer hasn't imported any material because they have bought some bulk material from some other country, and they are putting labels of our product labels, and they are mentioning that it is manufactured by our company. And it is not happening with only our company, but when we see the export data, sometimes we can see that our product is being sold to some companies, but it is not shown as the brand name, sometimes as a raw material or sometimes in any other name. So in international business, it's very important to control the movement and to understand, because we are investing so much in registration, sometimes 4 to 5 years. And it is very much difficult for us to understand why it is happening, because we cannot appoint in every country, we cannot appoint our salesperson and sales staff, we cannot have the offices, we cannot have the customer feedbacks, proper feedbacks. So what I understand is that every company wants to increase the customer satisfaction and increase want to add value in the customer's life, and our customers are end users, are farmers. And in international business, what is happening, because of the because there is so much competitiveness sometimes, and some companies are using the unapproved active ingredients, low quality technicals, and some small traders, they are buying from other countries and they are putting the labels of the many international big brands, and they are just killing the market, and they are just ruining the whole scenario, where your another product cannot be launched again, because there is you cannot understand why your product is not moving or not successful in a particular scenario. And I have been facing these issues mostly in West Africa and some countries like Egypt, you can say. And because there are some free trade zones where any company can import the bulk raw material, and they have the registration certificate with your company, they can put the labels of your company and it will show manufactured by your company. And it has happened in many countries where your labels, your product can go anywhere, they can pay to the customs and they can clear the goods. So for me, it has been a difficult situation, and because we are serving B2B industry and not B2C, majorly we are tackling with the distributors. But in some countries, there are implementation of the QR code, but the challenge would be that the farmers, they don't know English and they don't know only the local language. So what I have an idea, maybe it is my question is also that how can we put the QR or the language barriers could be, like how every information embedded in the QR code could be in the local language, in their local, suppose Arabic or Amharic language, or that in Ethiopia there is Amharic, and in Kenya there is a local Swahili. So English, I don't think actually English language, one language English could serve many African countries, or there are French and Portuguese, many languages. So if we have to customize, and we have to customize every label, and we have to customize the information as per the need of the client, and we have to even talk to the Ministry of Agriculture of every country to because in international business we don't put the labels, our labels, we put the labels of client just in their local language. Some are Arabic, some are Spanish, some are in their local language. So the QR code also sometimes is given by the client only. We cannot put our QR code, and that label should be approved by Ministry of Agriculture of that country, because it is done as per the registration guidelines of the importing country. So anything that to be implemented, it should be implemented as per the export market also, because in exports we are doing a lot of customization, P2P business, B2B business, and toll manufacturing also. So this is just my idea, and I think we can work on that, and hopefully I can put my questions sometimes again with all the panelists or the organizers also. So thank you very much. Thanks for giving me the opportunity. Have a great day.
Thank you, Kavita.
Thanks, Kavita.
Yes, Shrenik.
Yeah, Kamal, you want to add anything, or?
Yeah, I can respond to some of the queries which Kavita was mentioning. Two examples which I'll give. There was a similar scenario where there's a company, it's a multinational company, and they were buying material from various European countries, plus their manufacturing sites in Philippines, Vietnam, India. And there were two challenges which they were facing. One was traceability of the stock. And second was less than LCT, less than container loads, LCL movements. So they wanted full container loads to be moved. So the regional supply chain head, he designed the program where we were involved, that it was a smart supply center which was set up in Singapore, where they wanted to first consolidate all the stock. It was coming from various manufacturers. It was QR coded there, all the stock coming in. And from there, it was moving to different places. Now, when the stock moves, there is always a shipping charter, and we know which line it is taking, which container it is taking. All those things are there, but in different systems. But now there are APIs available. You are also aware because you are working in the international business market. So you can integrate those APIs, and you can actually trace which container, which ship, which liner, which product is going, and when they are reaching to the destination. And then language problem also can be solved. QR code, right now the product is running in Taiwan, Shanghai, in Malaysia, Philippines, and there are different languages which can be converted. So automatically when you specify that this is for this country, the code can be converted into that. So there are actions, but it all matters at the destination. Someone need to scan that, okay, this is, I have received this. Or if anyone is visiting the market, they can go and check which product is it. Is it my product or it's a different product? So there is an investigation, like one of the panel members said that there can be investigations which can be done if it is a counterfeit product, or someone is using your label and packing some other product. But the tools to some extent are available. But like everyone else said, policies, tools, those need to be worked hand in hand to ensure that we get integrity of the product and traceability of the product, and ensure that it is our product which is getting sold rather than any other one selling under our brand. But yeah.
Thank you, sir. Thanks for your
Thank you. Thanks.
Thank you, Kamal. Thank you for that.
Yeah.
So, Ekta.
Yes, yeah. So thank you everyone for sharing your insights. Of course, this was an interesting discussion. We could have extended, gone on and on. So we've understood, like, how to simplify pertinent issues with the supply chain, putting system in the place of inventory optimization, and the benefits of the use of the technology is, and the growth and the overall success is very important for the agrochemicals industry. So now on this closing note, I would like to thank our partner VCS and all the thought leaders who took out their precious time on Friday evening as a guest speaker and shared their interesting insights. Of course, the discussion, as I mentioned, was very interesting, and we could have extended it for another half an hour. But since the time limit was there, we had to give a hard stop. I hope you all had a great session. And also we have shared a feedback form, on the chat box, which mentions about one-on-one brainstorm virtual meet with VCS. So if you guys are interested to know more about interesting solutions, what VCS offers, we would be happy to connect you with the entire team of VCS. So thank you, everyone. Please share the feedback with us and kindly follow us on LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter for more interesting webinars and events. So have a nice weekend. Stay safe and take care, everyone.
So
thank you once again.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you for taking out time and joining
Thank
this
you.
particular roundtable. Appreciate everyone's time. Stay home, stay safe, stay healthy, and have a great weekend to everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank
Bye,
you.
everyone.
Thank
Bye.
you, everyone.